morning and welcome back to the Wednesday warm-up. It is me, your host, Lee. 2 weeks of absenteeism. I put in gave my sick note to my doctor. Because we must have a doctor here.
Yeah, I know.
We have a doctor. But it's so good to be back. Yano, Jess. Hello, boy.
Hey, how are you? Mommy Lee.
Good and you, my child. Hey, man, did you miss the Wednesday warm-up?
I did. I actually did.
Nah.
Yeah, no, on a Wednesday, you don't know what to do with yourself.
You don't. That's
You
so
don't,
true.
yeah.
Last week, Wednesday, we were off, though.
Yeah.
We were granted the opportunity to take off because we worked very hard.
Yes.
For the conference.
Yes.
So here we are today, back and
Back
ready
at
to
it.
go.
Yes,
With
and-
a very, very top-heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you must call the one and
serious
only
conversation.
X.
You know, exactly.
Just to
that's
get the emotions flowing in the building.
You need to get at
100%,
emotions flowing.
100%. You spot on, Jess. Now, let us introduce the one and
But
only. Okay.
before we go there,
Let's hear.
I hope X is with us here today.
X is
Because
here,
I know when that laptop is open, X has been in this whole training thing, right?
X is of trading, Baba, man. This man is on another level. He's making money. He is making money.
Yeah, no. The spirit of trading came upon him.
You know, if he was losing, I would have a problem. I would be like, you spending too much time for someone who's losing money.
Yeah,
but
I know.
he's making his money. He's learning. He's learning because he's new. So, you know, he's according to him. But we let him speak on behalf of himself.
Yeah, I know.
We've got the one and only X. Hello, X. Welcome.
Hello,
We saw you
hello.
Monday, but here you are again. Eish.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it. It is the Wednesday warm-up with Lee B.
Eish.
And Jess.
Yo, hi. Next fancy.
Yo, they just gave me a name, so much.
Yeah, you don't know
Who gave him X?
Me.
It's stuck.
Oh, wow.
It's stuck. But X, Zakes, you trading now. Why do you do it every day? You have a reason for that. You learn.
Yeah, man. You see, the thing is, I got involved with this thing a while ago, and then I didn't really take it serious. And then
Story of every trader's life.
And then
Through that.
in January this year, I was like, nah, let me take this thing serious, man. And then I was speaking to my brother-in-law also, and he was doing well. I had him on my show, and he started really, really doing well.
That was a cool show.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, this thing is working, man. This thing is
Go
working.
with it.
The guys out here are living the life. I mean, when you get to the place where you can make your whole monthly salary in one day, then you must know it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no way.
no way.
There's nothing. There's not much to lose.
No, then you must know you're on the winning side of life, yeah. So now I hopped into it. I obviously went through the motions that everyone goes through, where you lose in the beginning and you suckle and you kick yourself. And I started doing this thing where I take a walk every day, man.
Yeah.
Because, hey, bro, you know how it is. Jess has also been trading. And sometimes when you make a bad trade or you lose or something goes wrong, hey, yes, it bothers you.
Then he roll anchor in the house.
No, I don't
There's
roll.
no salt in his food.
Plus, now the other day you took a walk in the estate and you almost got devoured.
Yo, bruh, you were there. I took a walk and there were 2 pit bulls
Yeah, man.
running around there in the estate, bruh. I'm like, I complained in the group chat. I'm like, how can you leave your pit bulls running around here? And then this pit bull started chasing me.
This man was praying.
Hey, bruh, I stood still and I'm like, Lord, please don't let this thing bite me. Lord, please don't let it. And so, yeah.
Tongues there.
Oh, bruh, and the pity was coming. And then eventually I just kept quiet, and then he turned around and walked away. And then I just carried on walking also, and then it left me alone. But it was by the skin of my teeth. I almost was attacked by a pit bull.
And a chinny chin.
Two actually was coming for me.
Nah, but here you are. You are safe and you are still trading and you
Survived.
still go on your walks.
And now I still go on my walks because, you know, with this game, every day is not a winning day, man. Some days is a little bit swag.
But
Other
it's
days are
nice that
better.
you even, you know, it's good for your health. It's good for your mental health. A walk
It
that you
is.
take every day.
You know what? Now, speaking to yourself, I used to think I'm crazy or something wrong with me when I
Yeah.
used to speak to myself. Nah? Is everything fine?
Yeah, we've got a comment.
Audio fine? Everything fine? I used to think I'm crazy speaking to myself, and then the more I went into like, you know, healthy things to do, it's actually one of the good things to do when you actually take a walk, speak to yourself, Like, just get yourself. So I pray
Yeah.
and I meditate, which
Yeah.
is the Bible says you must meditate on the word day and night. And I also do affirmations when I'm walking. I'm like, okay, bro, come. We're gonna get this thing right. Come, we're gonna move now.
And that's
Next
good,
thing,
especially
come.
after, like, for instance, a bad trading
Yeah,
day.
bad day. Yeah. Bad day will show
To
you
get
flames.
yourself back in it. But anyway, Jess, we've got comments there. We've got
Yes,
our peeps in
hey,
the comments.
We got our main brother here in the comments, Keegan, coming in saying ICT.
Ay. But listen, Keegan, can we get you on
In studio,
man? But for real now, like, drop us, send us an email address or something, either Instagram or
Of it.
yeah, but best bet is Instagram. But do so, man. Or homeofinsights@gmail.com. We'd love to get you on. You're always so quiet, like with your
Always engaged.
engaging.
Then we have Juan Warren saying, good morning, my people. Looking forward to the show today. And on that, I just want to add
Yes.
something, guys. We have new cameras, man. The quality is looking very good here on the YouTube.
We've got some new cams up in here. New cast members, Sammy, Jimmy, and Tom up in here. We are so grateful. Thank you so much to the Unc for organizing it, and for Doc for blessing us with this beauties in studio here. We don't need a cameraman because these
Can you
are
guys see it looking nice?
PTZs. These are PTZs all up and
See, now they're gonna see everything, bro. I have a lot of big pimples.
it's HD quality. We are on 1080p, boy.
HD pimples.
But
See
anyway,
that
guys,
redness?
listen, you know how quickly time flies now,
Yeah,
and we don't
let's-
have much time. So I want to
get
get
into it.
straight into the conversation, man. First and foremost, so we're going to be speaking about different, we're going to be speaking about the topic is fast asleep for the woke agenda. And that's a question. Are you sleeping on the woke agenda? And it's like, we've been speaking about this for a very long time. Xavier's very passionate about these kinds of topics, as you will see if you have not yet seen. But the thing about sleeping on the woke agenda is that before you know it, it's creeped into your home, and it's creeped into the church, and it's creeped into
Your children.
society and into your children, which is the topic for today. So we will be speaking about a couple of things. The first thing is we're going to be speaking about Disney's leaked woke agenda meeting. So I don't know, has anybody seen, for you guys, first, before we get into the other things, have you seen the Disney
I
leaked
haven't
video?
seen it, but we spoke about it, and I know through that.
Yeah. It's like you've seen
Yeah,
it.
I've seen it, yeah. I definitely seen it, yeah.
And so before we get into thoughts about it, I was going to start off with something else, but if my producer can please go to the third video, which we will play, if you don't mind. Are you ready, producer? Okay, let's go.
Grew up
Listen.
watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same
So
time,
this is the executive
I worked at small
producer.
studios most of my
Her name
career,
is
and I've
Latoya
heard,
Ravenel.
whispers. Like, I
And
heard
Disney's
things like,
executives, their top
they won't
leadership
let you show
had
this or Disney show. And
a
I'm like,
meeting
okay.
recently
So I was a little
on
like,
this
when I
LGBTQI
started.
plus
But then
don't say
my
gay bill,
experience
which we'll get into now.
bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of proud family Disney TVA.
And so now she's giving her opinion on
The showrunners were super welcoming, Meredith Roberts, and our leadership over there has been so
the
welcoming
subject.
to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like I felt like it was, maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened in the last they are turning it around. They're
Oh, so before we go to the next video, are we done on that side though? Cool.
We're done.
Gentlemen, so you heard it right there, right? She says that when she joined the Disney team, she was a little bit skeptical about, because she's the executive producer there, and she was saying that she was a little bit skeptical about, how they're going to receive her not so secret gay agenda. So she verbatimly says that she's got a gay agenda for Disney and introducing this. So firstly, let me open it up. What are your thoughts on the matter here?
To me, I think she overspoke herself when she said agenda. when she used the word agenda.
Yeah.
Because the word agenda is very telling.
Yes.
It denotes that I'm trying to drive a narrative. And the word she uses is very strategic. She says secret agenda.
Yes.
She says not so secret agenda. And to me, that just says it all. It's like, I'm going to force my belief system via media onto impressionable minds
Yes.
that cannot reason for themselves, that needs parents to sign for them, that needs parents to feed them, that needs parents to buy them clothes, that needs parents to be there, that needs a guardian, that cannot even drive yet, that cannot even have alcohol yet. Why are these rules put in place? Because that child is too small to comprehend those things, because the child's mind is not fully developed. We call it early childhood development.
Yes.
So I am going to enforce secretly so. But she says not so secret anymore because they are now accepting it.
Yes.
So initially she came in with the mindset of how can I squeeze this thing in? Then she was like, okay, let me see if I can squeeze it in like secretly. Then she realized, okay, maybe
more people are accepting.
More people are now vibing with it, so
deeper.
it's not so secret.
Yeah.
But it's my agenda,
Yes.
and I'm now gonna force it into these impressionable minds. And to me, that's a massive red flag.
Yeah.
Especially to children that again cannot reason for themselves, cannot
Yes.
think for themselves, do whatever their parents do. I mean, my friend that I had on the show on Monday.
Yes.
You would if you speak to his son. His son has a British accent.
Yes.
Why does his son have a British accent? His father is South African, his mother is British. He's here in South Africa for 2 weeks, but he's speaking with a British accent.
Yeah.
So now my question would then be, why is he speaking like that? Because that's the environment he grew up in. That's his parents. He hears his parents speaking. He sees what his parents are doing. So that shapes
Yes.
his future. It shapes the way he thinks. It shapes the way he reasons. It shapes his worldview.
Yes.
So if you coming in at an early age to have a secret agenda to shape a child's worldview,
Yes.
you catch them early and they grow up thinking that that's okay. When in the meantime, she herself even says and concedes that she's so confused about her own sexuality. She
Yeah.
concedes.
Yeah.
So now you coming with your confusion,
Yes.
and you are now telling a small child to also be confused. That's
Definitely.
unfair towards the mind
Yes.
of an impressionable small child.
And the reason why Xavier says that, just to give you context, we were watching a video earlier where she admits what her sexuality is. She says she's a biromantic asexual. Now, asexual is you don't have any sexual attraction to anybody, right? So if you are asexual, that almost contradicts the nature of sexuality. Firstly, that's point number one. Biromantic. What is biromantic? So if we as adults cannot even comprehend the confusion of this lady's sexuality, and she says she's got a not so secret gay agenda, like Xavier said, to influence minds that are soaking up everything, then that makes me feel uncomfortable. But before I let you go, Jason, to give your thoughts about it, I just want to give context. So a number of Disney employees, so this is now as a result of this meeting that they had. A number of Disney employees recently walked off the job in protest because they felt that Disney did not do enough to oppose the bill that was passed in Florida. And the bill is the House 1557 bill, or the the House Bill 1557 or HB 1557. So what this bill in essence does, it prohibits teachers, listen nicely, folks, it prohibits teachers from providing instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity to children between the ages of kindergarten and 3rd grade, right? So a few Disney employees, the activists of the LGBTQI plus community call it the Don't Say Gay bill, but it's called the HB 1557. And so a lot of them feel that they are hindering or they are stifling the voices of the LGBTQI plus community. This is what it's doing. But in actual fact, it's prohibiting teachers from taking their own initiative to train other parents' children on sexual identity and gender identity, especially from the ages of kindergarten to third grade. And this is what this bill prohibits. And then a few of the Disney employees were not happy with this, and so they put pressure on Disney, and then the executives came together and they had this meeting. And so from that whole incident, the escalation of this is what was prevalent. So what do you think about it, knowing the context of it?
For me, I had a chat with someone on Friday actually about this, and they all for the LGBT and all that.
Yes.
But what upset me the most is that it's being done to kids. And yesterday I had a chat with someone again, and the whole conversation was based on, let's take Ava and Tate, Xavier's kids, for example.
Yeah.
They watch Disney Channel. When you watch Disney Channel back then, you wanted to be a princess. You was watching Frozen and Elsa and this, and this is the type of stuff you want to do. You must go out and buy your daughter now a dress and get this wand and things like that. Now you're coming with a whole new different agenda. And it already shows that when kids do watch this type of things, it already plays within their conscience to say, this is what I want to be one day.
And they believe that they can be that.
100%. Because even if you look at it back then, they looking, oh, we need a Prince Charming one day. We'll be older. We need to have a princess dress and stuff.
Yes.
Now the whole narrative is changed in terms of, now it's just going to be like, okay, this is right then. This is what's supposed to be happening. Automatically playing at the back of the conscience, because like Xavier said, it's people that can't necessarily think for themselves. Decisions have to be made for them, all that type of stuff. And I feel like it's dangerous territory, especially when it comes now to the fact that we're playing with kids now who can't make decisions for themselves, and now we're forcing that decision on them.
And my question is, okay, wait, let me play this because of what you just said now. You were saying something very important when you were saying that, I mean, little girls want to be princesses. Boys want to be the Aladdins and the fighters and the magicians and stuff like that. These are things that they see, and these are things that they idolize, and they look at that, and it's a fairy tale, and it opens up the imagination. I think that is what the essence of Disney was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But now we're going into gender pronouns, and that's a highly contested issue as well. But I want to play this video for you, and this is from the let me just get the name correctly and the title. This is Disney's diversity and inclusion manager, Vivian Weir, and this is what Vivian has to say. I just want to put a little bit softer because I think it's going to affect that there. Okay, so let us hear what this lady Vivian Weir has to say.
All of the gendered greetings in relationship to our life skills. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've provided training for all of our cast members in relationship to that. So now they know it's hello everyone or hello friends. We are in the process of changing over those recorded messages, and so many of you are probably familiar when we brought the fireworks back to the Magic Kingdom. We no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we say dreamers of all ages. And so I love the fact that it's opened up the creativity, the opportunity for our cast members to look at that. We have our cast members working with merchandise, working with food and beverage, working with all of our guest-facing areas where perhaps, we want to create that magical moment with our cast members, with our guests.
So, yeah. So she says that they've now become gender neutral. So they don't want to use pronouns or they don't want to use gender specific names or nouns like boys and girls and princess and that kind of thing. They now saying dreamers of all ages, right? Because they don't want to assume that every girl wants to be called a princess. So, as you can see, the source is Matt Welsh, and the link is in the description below. So if you have a chance, go and watch that commentary that Matt Welsh does on that. I think it's actually quite interesting. But he was like, yeah, because no girl wants to be called a princess. Your daughters.
They want to be called princess. They definitely want to be called princess. But what baffles me is that in the pursuit of trying to force this woke culture upon everyone else, right? They are trampling upon the rights of other people who don't agree with him. So it's a double-edged sword. You saying I don't want you to live your life.
Yeah.
But what you're doing in the process is that you are telling me that I can't live my life.
Yeah.
Because the second I say, but hold on, I don't agree with this, then you call me all sorts of names in the book, homophobic, whatever phobic, because and also the other thing is the LGBT community, they're so unsure about their own agenda. Because it's constantly changing, it's constantly adjusting, it's constantly shifting, it's constantly moving, they're constantly switching things around. And at the end of the day, you're like, guys, you are unsure about what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And now you want to drag me into your confusion. I know what I believe.
Yeah.
And I know what's true. And I know what is a fact. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. A girl is a girl and a boy is a boy. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That you cannot dispute. They themselves cannot dispute that fact. If you look at the Matt Welsh interview that he does with Dr. Fo, when he says he says, no, I identify as a woman. Then Matt Welsh says to him, what is a woman? Then he can't answer the question. Then Matt Welsh says, so how do you identify as something that you don't know what it is?
Yeah. He says it's open to everybody.
Then he says, it's open to interpretation. Then Matt says, no, it's not open to interpretation. There's a very...
You can't say that you're a woman and then say it's open to interpretation. So what is your interpretation of that word?
So if I'm saying to you, what is this? This is a cup. What's it made from? No, it has a metal outline and it has a plastic inside, right? So this is factually a cup that has metal outside and plastic inside. That's what it is.
Yes.
You can't say, I identify that this is a vase. You can perhaps use it as a vase. You can perhaps put water in here and flowers in here. But it's not a vase. It's a cup, right?
And so when they sell it in the shops, they're not selling it as a vase.
They're selling it as a cup. But now if I ask you, so what's this cup made from? Yeah, well, it's open to interpretation. No, it's not. It's made from metal and plastic. There's nothing to interpret about that. That's what it's made from and that's what it is.
Yes.
And so to me, that... the confusion that they themselves are experiencing, it's really irritating and frustrating that they are trying to put that confusion on the rest of the world when they themselves are unsure about the direction they're trying to go. Even them, I started off as gay and then I moved over to non-binary. Then I decided I want to be a pan-asexual, sexual, this and that. Then I changed to this and this. It's like, my bro, what do you want?
Yeah.
Now you wanna use all that confusion that you have going on in your head. You now wanna put it on small children that can't reason for themselves. That's unfair.
Yeah.
It's really unfair.
What do you think about that, Jess?
I just feel like when you open up a door for one thing, it tends to open up more doors for more nonsense.
Yes.
Because what else are we gonna start putting in the scenes then? Kids things now. Remember the article a few months ago about the soft porn to kids?
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like a ridiculous thing now. People saying, I never did. But that also sounds like a ridiculous thing way back when Disney started. I highly doubt that Disney would have ever thought we'd get to this point. And this is where we are now, where it's become normal. So a few years from now...
Even pedophilia was like, a pedophile must go to jail.
Now it's some preference.
Even pedophilia, if you went to prison for raping a child, you the scum of the prison.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's a choice if someone likes small children.
It's a sexual preference. Yeah, I saw that. For instance, with the term cisgender, right? So there's many debates about how old the term cisgender is. And cisgender is somebody that identifies as the sex that they were assigned at birth. So, for instance, you would be considered cisgender male, and Xavier would be considered cisgender male. But they actually traced it back to as early as 1991 or 1994. There's debate around that, but they were saying that there's a German sexologist that now came up with the term cis. So cis means on this side of, and trans means beyond. Okay. And so that's the reason why. So it's exactly what Xavier was saying, that, okay, so now you feel like a minority, right? Because that is what it's the lived experience of many of the LGBT. They are a minority. So they are the LGBTQI plus, especially the trans community. It is a minority, although it's growing in popularity. So they felt that in order to be accommodating and in order to break the stigma around trans, it would make sense to identify a male who sees himself as a male as a cis male, and a female who sees herself as a female as a cis female, which means that they believe that they're on this side of. But it goes back to what you were saying. If you feel that this is how you identify, why are you imposing that I'm a male, I'm a female? You know, I don't need a prefix to say what kind of female I am. I'm just a female because that is how I've been. That is how I identify. That is how I've known it to be for all of humanity. And when all of a sudden now we must add these things. So do you want to get in the comments before we go on to the next one? I'm not going to play this video.
Okay.
But we get into the comments and then we go over to the next.
Okay, Keegan says, this is painful. Then we have expressive music coming in again from Monday's show. Saying, how do I say this name, guys? Ziakala, nice topic to understand woke culture. You have to start with Karl Marx. We need new platforms. Keegan says we need new platforms of media for people who don't have these beliefs. We should have an alternative choice of entertainment, especially for kids.
Definitely.
Then expressive music goes on to says, after the World War, they hoped that Marxism would spread upon the failure. A guy called Antonio Gramsci, I think that's how you say, developed cultural Marxism, and they pushed in on oppressed communities, namely black people. A lady named Kimberly Crenshaw, who was how do I say that, girl? Student, developed her theory, and this is why the wave of wokeism you are seeing. This is from the wave. So it's basically explaining where the wave came from.
Yeah.
But there's some big words there, brother. I'm sorry I couldn't.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Expressive Music. We're calling you by your username now, but Expressive Music for those insights. So basically in here, this guy, his name is, let me just get into it. He's the Disney production coordinator, Alan March. And what he basically just says is that, you know, they've been tracking the LGBT characters, and they feel like although there is LGBT representation, it's always characters in the background. They want to bring them into the foreground. So they want them to be leads so that their stories can be told. And then you get this lady over here. This is Disney's corporate president. Her name is Kerry Burke. I'm also not going to play this. But anyway, Kerry Burke says that she's got 2 queer children. And so as a mother of 2 queer children, she identifies with the community's frustrations. And she basically just says that, you know, we need to introduce, she was quite shocked to find out that there's not a lot of queer representation. And so she feels that there ought to be more content of that sort. They basically just all said the same thing. Went around in circles saying the same thing, but that's the essence of it.
Does her children even know what that means? Or does she tell them?
Now that's another question, and you know, she doesn't give their ages. They could be in their teenagers already. They could be adolescents, but clearly there must have been a reference point, because how do kids know? She says her one child is pansexual. Now with pansexual is that you are attracted to multiple genders. Yeah. So I want to know, at what age is it okay and appropriate for a child to be sexually attracted to several genders? That's my issue. How do you teach children? I mean, the boyfriend and girlfriend thing is already a contending issue, because kids at that age, what do they know to do with boyfriend and girlfriend? Because somebody then needs to teach them what that is. Why would you want to teach a child what that is? Right? I mean, if a child is pulling down their pants in public, you are going to be like, why are you doing that? Pull up your pants. You know what I'm saying? Because you are so protective of the innocence of a child. And I just want to read something quickly. I watched a YouTube documentary, right? And it's called Raised on Porn. And I just want to stipulate some of the points that was raised in that. And obviously, we're not talking about child pornography and exposure to pornography, but we're talking about a sexual nature. The topic is of a sexual nature. So, the narrator opens up and I'm going to read the line that he says. He says, one of the powers of innocence is the ability to have a world that is safe, to be able to play and experiment in without the threat of danger. They say that when sexuality or pornography intrudes through any form of violation, you realize that there's a parallel world next to yours. And if you walk through those doors, nothing will ever be the same again and you can't go back. And they make the analogy of a rose, which was just like amazing for me. And they said that you cannot force a rose to open. So if a rose is still like this, nah, the rose is still like this. It takes time for the rose to open up. It's not just going to open up. No matter how desperate you are, the only way that rose is going to open up before its time is if you actually have to pull the petals apart. And what happens to the rose when you pull the petals apart? Some of it is going to fall off and it's going to be damaged. It's not going to be the beautiful rose anymore. You might as well discard of the rose because it's not going to look as pretty as what it opens up within its natural time. And they said it's similar to introducing children and adolescents to sexuality. Their brains, the actual anatomical, physiological, biological shape of a child's brain is not prepared for sexual content of any sort. So even if your argument is, yeah, but you need to, because this is how the world is, you need to protect your children against whatever. Why is it that you give that right to a complete stranger and that the teacher gets to now decide what they teach your children? Is that not sexual violation as well?
It is sexual violation. But when did we get to the stage where it's the teacher's responsibility to teach my children about sex?
Yeah.
Just do maths,
how did we get
science,
there? I'm
English.
sending my child to school to learn to read, write, understand maths, understand those kind of things, biology, science, art, whatever the child is involved in. Not for you to tell my child that you can be whatever sex you want to be. That's my responsibility as the parent at home.
Yeah.
You can't enforce your beliefs wherever you come from. Like there was a time at my kids' school, they were doing some meditations and stuff. And I asked the teacher, what kind of meditation is this? And then there was one teacher that was there that was doing this where they light these little yam stockies and things, incense, and they do like Buddhist meditation. So I told the teacher, hey, if we Christians, it goes against our Christian belief, I don't think I want my child involved in this thing. And then I told my child at home also, listen, when they do this Buddhist things, ask the teacher if you can play outside or do something else, but I don't want you involved in those things.
Yeah.
That's my right as a parent.
Yes.
It's my God-given right. It's my child.
Yes.
If she says, my children are whatever, she's harnessing that and embracing that and honing that. My children are cis. And I'm harnessing that and embracing it. So if I choose to raise my children as two little girls, which they are biologically, physically, naturally, they are two little girls. They're not confused. They're not boys. They know what they are and they know who they are. I'm raising my children to be who they are. So you can't now turn around and then come against me. You must leave the child to do. No. That's the point of discipline.
Yeah.
That's exactly the point of discipline. If your child is walking with a big glass thing and the child is going to fall, your job as a parent is to say, don't walk with that thing or put that thing down. If your child is running around with a knife, you can't say, their mindset is, leave the child, let the child play, the child must experiment. The child's running around with a knife in the house. You can't say, leave the child, let the child experiment.
Yeah.
Because if the child falls, the child will kill itself, right?
Yes.
You can't say, if the child is jumping up and down on a glass table, leave the child is experimenting with a glass table, and then bash, the table breaks, the child gets cut, blood all over the place. Your job and your responsibility as a parent is to say, whoa, guys, get off that table. Hey, bring that knife here. Don't run with a scissor. You're going to get that. Because it's my responsibility as a parent. So what they are doing, they are infringing on my rights as a parent upon my children. And that's my responsibility at home to tell my children, do this, do that, watch for this, watch for that.
And
not the teacher.
You know what bothers me the most about this? Like, for me, representation is important, and I'm not against representation. My problem comes in, like, I want to know now, what is Disney's mandate? Who is their target audience? Because according to them, they say here that in regards to their theme parks, a vast majority of their visitors are 6 to 12 years, right? And then for their television network, they are popular among kids aged 7 to 13. Now, a 6 to 12-year-old, a 7 to 13-year-old, why must, because if you say you've got a gay agenda, how are you going to portray or tell the story of the gay person without any sexual innuendos involved? So if you say you've got a gay agenda, then you must have a sexual agenda, because is that not what it is about? Is it not a sexual preference? So I want to know what in their programming and in their theme parks, what is going to be, are they gonna, must they now be kissing every time to show now that these people are together, or whatever the case may be, because if you are so adamant about pushing this, I want to know what are the limitations to your storytelling. And that is my issue with it. So I don't have a problem that they want to bring representation to the forefront. My problem is that how are you going to do it? It's in the how that matters to me.
But that's why I said, if you open up a door for one thing, you're going to open up a door for another. And whether you like it or not, it's going to lead into that.
Yeah.
And I agree with what Xavier is saying. When you raise your child, you have your set of beliefs and the way you want to raise your child.
Yes.
Don't so much as put your things on my child. I want to protect my child in my house, and I have my beliefs and ways that I want to raise my child. And one of the debates we had on Friday with the person that I was speaking to was that, yeah, but your child needs to learn that it's okay for two guys to kiss because it's what's happening in the world and stuff. And then I mentioned, like, but so much is happening. There's reason why there's rules in place.
Yeah.
So must you say your child must get used to the fact that people are killing each other because it's happening in the world?
Basically.
Your child must get used to rape because it's happening in the world. What can we do?
That's literally what I said. And I brought up the porn thing as well. Porn has become so familiar to people.
But
it's happening in the world. It's damaging minds. It's damaging families. But we must become used to the fact that, it is what it is. And that's the problem. That's why I feel like when you take rules out of certain things, you're just asking for a complete mess up. I hate to bring up the family, but look at Will Smith. Him and Jada made it clear, we're going to raise our children. They can do whatever they want to do. We don't mind. Let them
and
go.
The two of us, we
open and stuff.
Yeah.
Now you want
now
to cry.
Look, now it's a thing of sitting you crying, you slapping people on stage. It's all plays with your mind at the end of the day. And it's all just coming to a big explosion because there's no rules and no boundaries set in place. You're just playing an open field.
Yeah. So great segue, because I want to go into that very topic of Will Smith and Jada. So if our producer can play the first clip for me, which I'm sure you're all familiar with this one. Okay, that's not the first clip, but this is the first clip.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see
So you can mute our mics, because you're going to mute the swearing there. We won't mute.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. G.I. Jane jump. I'm going to, okay?
Okay, so we saw what happened a couple of weeks ago at the Oscars. Chris Rock made a joke about Jada. It was a G.I. Jane joke. So some people say that it was with regards to the bald head, and G.I. Jane is bald. And others say that, well, if you know G.I. Jane, she wears the pants in the relationship as well. So there's a play on that, right? So there was that whole debacle. At first, Will seems to be laughing.
Yeah.
Next minute, you see Jada rolls her eyes.
True or not.
Next moment, Jada rolls her eyes. All of a sudden change. Will Smith gets up. He casually walks towards Chris Rock. Gives him a royal slap through the face. Walks back. Chris Rock's like, What's happening? Keep my wife's name out of your peep mouth. Keep my wife's name out of your peep mouth. But there was footage that shows that when Will walked back, there was footage of Jada laughing after the slap. So, what do you guys think about this situation? Based on what Jesse just said, you open the door, they've got an open relationship, right?
Now you
Well,
can't
according
get
to
nar
her.
you can't get nar when she's now sleeping around with lighties.
So, do you think when you look at this, what do you think this is? Is this a man that is highly just like frustrated and about to lose his ish?
For me,
Suppressed
first
masculinity.
of all, I thought it was. I didn't know if it was true or not because he
Yeah.
was smiling,
Joke.
and so I thought maybe they're doing like a little skit or something. So I wasn't sure if it was true. In fact, we had that debate. Did it really happen? What do you think? We had that debate. Eventually, it was like, hey, bro, this thing looks like it really happened. This looks like it was true, Then, eventually, when I saw her looking at him like, are you going to leave him? Like, that, are you going to leave him?
Yeah, that
Then he's also like, come on, Mago, do something about
the
it.
pressure.
So why clubs are and the other sad thing is that apparently because they went into Chris Rock's history also, he was bullied as a kid because he's short and everything and he's skinny.
Everybody hates Chris.
Exactly, that's why he came up with Everybody Hates Chris. So he was bullied and he was abused when he was a kid at school and all of it. That's part of the reason he dropped out of school.
Yeah.
So that's why when you even see after that slap and you see Chris is like disorientated, he's like, yo, what happened now, brah? Yo, what happened now? What was that now?
Shame.
You can see that, and if you know his backstory, it makes it even more sad. It's like, oh, bruh. Now Will is bullying Chris. Because first of all, I didn't understand the G.I. Jane joke.
Yeah.
And majority people didn't understand. Because if you listen to the people who were doing like speaking about it, they all said, the commentaries, they were like, I didn't get the joke in the first place.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when you hear, oh, G.I. Jane shaves their hair, whatever. And then you don't even know if Chris knew about the whole LP show.
He says that he did come out with a statement after that, and he said that he did not know that she.
Because nobody, well, I didn't know. And a lot of people I spoke to about it also said, nah,
I didn't even know
I
she
didn't
had
know
a
that
blast.
was now a thing. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. So again, that was unwarranted. You clapping the O, slapping.
Slapping.
The O for something that he doesn't even know if it's real or not. And then plus at the end of the day now, the O was bullied and now you're bullying him again in front of everyone. So to me that was just disrespectful on Will's part. But then also what his wife's whole issue is that I think he felt like pressured, like, come on, do something. He's then looking at me with a side eye to say, are you gonna leave him? Are you gonna leave him? And so he felt pressured. Come on, stand up. Because even in his speech he says, yeah, I'm standing up. And
King
standing
Richard
up,
was a
standing
man
up.
that
Who stood up for his family.
and,
So that's his kind of.
But what do you think? Look, we don't know the full story. Nobody knows the full story.
Yeah.
But from what we have seen that they allowed to be displayed in the media about their marriage, about their family life, there is no doubt that they are in an extremely toxic marriage. And not just the marriage, but the family itself is extremely toxic. Jaden and Willow, and there was that whole thing where they came out when you watched Will's documentary, where they were saying that they resented their father, they resented their parents. At one point, Willow wrote a letter when she was younger to Tupac, who she has not met before. She writes a letter to Tupac and she says to him that please come back because so that mommy and me can be happy.
Now imagine as a man how you must feel now.
So, how does Willow know about Tupac? There must be a conversation in the home. Or Jada confides. You can see that she confides in a child.
Yeah.
She confides in her child and she says she must have said, or they had the argument, or maybe Will and Jada's constantly fighting. Yeah, go to Tupac. You know how it is. I'm just like creating a scenario or whatever. Yeah, if you want Tupac, go to Tupac also. Go to the grave and what. And now this child is sitting there in this toxic environment, and this child is absorbing all of this. She decides, oh, you write a letter to Santa. Let me write a letter to Tupac and ask him to come back so that mommy and I can be happy. Also, they said that on her wedding day, she was 4 months pregnant. She was not in a good space. She was sad. She was crying. She wasn't happy. She
also
didn't,
seems like a
she didn't
morbid person.
want to get married. And now this video that I want to play for you guys, is this the slap? Is it as a result of the boiling point level of this that is going on, right? And I just want to produce the plate and play it for you guys.
You know Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Oh my goodness.
if you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just...
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start rolling. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch us stare at the red table because she's helped us a lot. Can't you tell?
Yeah. There you saw that she starts recording Will. She says that one of her guests is going to be on the Red Table Talk. Esther is going to be at the Red Table Talk, and she's helped Will and I a lot. She already tells him. She creates the script for him.
She tells him what to say.
Hasn't Esther helped us a lot in our relationship? He's upset because he's like, why are you recording this? You know what I'm saying? Without my permission. This is something personal. If we are talking about our relationship, I don't know when this happened, but I suspect that it was before Red Table Talk. Before Red Table Talk, right?
Yeah, because it's an old video.
Yeah. So if that happened then, what escalated to now Will being pressured to come? If this man is worried about his wife just starting to record him when they on a topic so sensitive like our relationship, what would make that same man want to come on Red Table Talk for millions of people to watch to speak about Jada's entanglement? For me, that does not make sense. This seems like an issue where this guy is being forced and subjected into doing things that makes Jada okay to keep the peace in the home. So, we're speaking about once you allow one thing and you break the structure of the family.
You're in for the ride of your life, my G. To me, I don't know, Jess, do you want to jump in here? I'll jump in.
And now you can go. I'll jump in after you.
To me, they are just lost, bro. And after the slap, Denzel Washington goes, and now we all know Denzel Washington is saved.
Yeah.
He's like church saved. And
They go to his house.
yeah, no, I don't know about the house story.
But they go to him.
Yeah, they go
Him
to
and
him.
a few of the other guys.
Him and Tyler Perry, and we also
Yeah.
know Tyler Perry saved. And like say to him, my G, calm down. This is the moment now that things are happening. And then in his speech at the Oscars, he says, God is allowing this in my life, and God. So to me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to look into the camera when I say this. You can be how famous. You can be how rich and successful. You can think that you have the world wrapped around your finger. Like Will Smith, when he's doing Fresh Prince, he's doing his music, he's out there, he's probably one of the most famous people in the world. If he steps off a plane, paparazzi immediately, no matter which country he goes to. You can be that. But if you don't have order and structure at your house, like what we just spoke about just now, it's all just null and void. It just means nothing at the end of the day. It really just means nothing. And to me, again, like I say, is that you need God in your life. You You need Jesus in your life. You need Christianity or spirituality. You need some sort of, again, like what Jesse said earlier, some sort of rules or something in your life, bruh, that guides you and just give you some sort of guidance.
Yeah.
If you living in a country like South Africa, and I've made this analogy before. If you're living in a country like South Africa, there's rules, there's regulations, there's guidelines. We drive on the left, you pass on the right. We have something we call robots, which people call traffic lights, green, orange, red. They mean something. We have a shape, a hexagon with a red, with white writing on it that says stop. It means something. Those things mean something. And those things don't mean something because you can have a Lamborghini, you can have a Ferrari. Yeah, I want to drive 200 kilometers per hour. Your car can drive 200 kilometers per hour. But if you're going to drive when it's showing red and you're going to skip the intersection, you're going to get bumped with your 2 million rand car.
Yes.
If it says stop and you decide I'm not going to stop, you're going to bump your 2 million rand car. And again, if I can use that analogy with Will Smith, he has the life, he has the luxury, he has the houses, he has the money. But if you're just going to have it free for all, like what you said earlier, there's no rules, there's no regulation, you can do how you please, then don't be surprised when your wife is sleeping around with a small child and now you want to sit and cry by a red table talk. Don't be surprised when your marriage is going down the crapper. Don't be surprised when your children look like they look there and they disrespect you. Don't be surprised. You then don't want to put guidelines in place. It's the same like with the LGBT. It can't just be free for all. There needs to be some sort of, whoa guys, whoa. At which point do we bring in some law and order here? We can't just have it to be all over the show.
Yeah.
Because at the lack of rules brings opportunity just to have whatever. Like now what's going on in the sports. Men are someone now saying they're women and then they're beating the woman in the sports. Men are committing crimes and saying that they identify as women, then they go to women's prison and then they rape the woman in prison. I mean, bruh, at which point do we say, hi guys, women? We can't just be free for all in here. We have to have some sort of guidelines in place here, man.
Yeah.
Because you'll see the ramification of those decisions.
Definitely. Jess, do you have anything to say? You want to go into comments?
Yeah, we have Keegan saying he feels it's staged. Diverting attention is a major thing. All of a sudden, COVID disappeared. The war is non-existent. YouTube's Explore page was full of the same video. He says, my question is, what has been happening in the background around the world? Eloise Coble says, as Christians, we need to have a problem with representation. We can't say, I don't mind the devil having a stronghold as long as he doesn't use it. And then Keegan says, things come back to bite hard.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. But with regards to what Eloise was saying, when I said representation, Disney is not a self-proclaiming Christian channel.
Yeah.
So if they want to put representation of any kind, it is from a worldview. So they're allowed to do it, right? They don't have, it's just that my thing is in terms of a general understanding the worldview and understanding where they're coming from, how is it then showed to your kids? And you as a parent, you can say as a Christian, you are not watching Disney. We are not supporting Disney. We are not buying Disney merchandise. We are not going to Disneyland. It's up to you as a Christian parent to do that. It's your prerogative. And it goes back to what, was it Expressive Music or Keegan was saying, that we need to have our own channels, our own content for our children. And I think that is what the Daily Wire is doing. They have now created an entire division where they're creating content, they're creating storybooks, they're creating animations for kids of a conservative nature. And I think that that's what needs to happen. As parents, your children are in this world. You don't want them to be part of this world, but you are going to have to take the steps as parents to make sure that they are exposed to what you want them to be exposed to. It's your responsibility as a parent to monitor what your kids see, what your kids hear, what, like Xavier, he takes a 100% stake in his children's lives, even to the point of school, where they're doing something as innocent as yoga, and he says this doesn't sit right with me, and he confronts the teacher about it. And what does he do? It's his right as that child's guardian, biological parent, to say no, I don't agree with this, and you teach your children 1, 2, 3 or the other. So, do you guys have any closing remarks in our last 4 minutes with regards to this? Are we fast asleep? Yep. Are we fast asleep for the woke agenda? And what can we do, Xavier, especially as parents, especially as normal citizens, and professing Christians, because that is, we make no mistake and no excuse about that we are Christians. We've got a Christian worldview. What is your advice to people out there?
Here's my advice. I was listening to, and I knew it, and I saw it also.
Yeah.
This woke culture is actually weak. Ne? Because the second you stand against them, and the second you say, "Ai wag, wag, hou op, asseblief hou net op,"
Yeah.
then they back down.
Yes.
Because look at what happened with Joe Rogan. Ne?
Oh yeah.
They wanted to delete Spotify, tell him, take him off Spotify,
Yes,
blah, blah,
yes.
blah, 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 we're gonna boycott, blah, 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 blah. Spotify said, hey, wag, relax,
Chappelle, same thing.
relax.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to Dave Chappelle on Netflix.
Yes.
We're gonna boycott Netflix, blah, blah, blah. Dave Chappelle said, hey, wag.
Yeah. And
relax,
Netflix
jy.
was like,
Wag net, jy. Then what happens? There they go. So if you let them override you and bulldoze you,
yeah.
you're giving them authority over your life. You're giving them power to say, we can bring in any rule we want to.
Yes.
And you must just bend it.
Yes.
You must just bend according to us. Because if you look at it, it's really getting out of hand. We can't say that raping a small child is normal and it's a sexual preference.
No.
That's out. I'm sorry now for LGBT people. And if you know me and you're my friend and everything. But that is now out of hand, guys. You can't defend that and say that is fine. You cannot defend it.
Child
and also,
pornography and
another thing
pedophilia.
you have to concede to, you can't defend confusion. Because let's just be honest, at this point now, that community is just confused. And even if you speak to people who are in that community, we've spoken to people in that, even they say, I don't know what's going on in the LGBT
And there's a
community.
lot of
This is
people
just
in the
getting now out of
LGBT
hand now.
community who is like, we don't agree with any of
They
these
say
things.
this is getting out of hand now. We can't say child pornography and raping small children and it's a sexual preference. It's getting out of hand, guys. And for me, for once, I love you and whatever the case may be, but I'm not going to bend over and take it. Because I'm just going to tell you straight, bro, I disagree with you. Take me, delete my profile, delete my Instagram, delete my WhatsApp, do whatever you feel is necessary to deplatform me. But me, I'm not going to be quiet.
Yes.
And I took my page out of Dave Chappelle's book and out of Joe Rogan. Don't bend and be quiet.
Exactly.
Because the second you stand up and say, I don't agree with you, let's have a conversation, let's have a debate, let's have discourse, then they don't want to have discourse.
Yeah.
Because there's no point to that discourse. If you look at the conversation with Matt Welsh at the Dr. Phil show, Matt Welsh put them under the rug, bruh.
And there were 3 against 1.
Under the rug, 3 against 1. To the point where they couldn't debate Matt Welsh because
Even
Matt Welsh was debating facts.
He was saying even the audience was hostile. Nobody was on his side.
The
way they
audience,
set it up.
when the LGBT said something, everyone, woo, yeah. When he says something, that's facts. And I can tell you without blinking, the people in that audience knows
Yes.
this man is not talking nonsense. But we now can't look like we're siding with him because the woke culture is going to now come for us like we're now siding with him.
Yeah.
Let's just be quiet. And that's the power that the woke culture has on population. It's like, you all shut up, don't have a choice, you don't have a say, do whatever
They
I
look
tell
at you
to
like,
do.
are you really going to clap?
Are you now going to clap with him?
It's a Jada and Will. Are you really going to laugh?
And
Are you
now,
really?
And what happened with that Matt Welsh interview, then that LGBT Owens went, They couldn't answer what the man and the woman was. They couldn't put up a proper debate. They couldn't bring up a proper discourse. Afterwards, they went and they came with a story about, they were against us and this
they
and
are
this and this.
suffering emotional
And they're
trauma.
suffering trauma now because of what Matt Welsh said. When they interviewed Matt Welsh afterwards, he said, if there's somebody that's supposed to be suffering trauma, it's me. The audience was against me. Dr. Phil was against me. They were against, and I was one man that had to defend myself.
He even asked the professor, okay, so you then tell me what is a woman. And she was like, I don't know. Why do you care so much? And then everybody's like, whoo, whoo. And then he's like, I'll tell you why I care so much. I care so much because of the innocent children that you are affecting by your false narrative. She was choop still. She started short circuit. She was like, what? I wasn't expecting that because that's exactly what Xavier was saying. Don't back down. Put your foot forward and say, I do not agree with this.
But when you in your pursuit of not backing down, be factual.
Yes.
Be factual. Because the second you misstep,
and don't be
they're gonna come for
emotional
you.
about
Don't be
it.
emotional. Be factual. Like I speak like this because I speak like this. I'm not getting but I can be factual. Be factual about it. Let's have a conversation. And if you're wrong, concede, bro. Don't now say you're being homophobic. No, you're wrong. It's like if I'm having a misunderstanding with my wife,
Yeah.
and she's wrong. Now all of a sudden, you're abusing me. You're abusing me.
Toxic masculinity.
You're abusing now. You see you abuse. Huh? When it does now become abuse now.
When
You
your
were
wife-
wrong. Just concede that. Sorry, baby, I didn't see.
Like for instance
or I
with
didn't
Jada.
realize."
Jada's sleeping around with everybody. Now if Will reprimands her, you see this patriarchy. This is
Yeah.
my problem. This is my problem. Can't you? The world is falling apart. Just closing remarks there.
Yeah, no. I feel like a lot of the time we're not asleep. We just bang.
Yeah.
So we know what's going on. We know it's wrong, but we're scared to speak out about it because of cancel culture and all this type of stuff. So yeah, a lot of the times we're not necessarily asleep. We're just scared to speak out. And like Xavier said, if you know your facts, if you know your things, don't be scared. Just debate.
Yeah.
And when you are wrong, say you are wrong.
Definitely.
But why did we get to the place where we can't have discourse? Because they silence you to the point where you're not allowed to have discourse. Because look what happened. Look what happened to Pete. What's his name? Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
When he said, "Hi, but gents, nah, man, guys, this is most not right." They get him fired off his show. Is that not bullying?
But you know
Is that
what?
not intimidation? That's intimidation.
But you know what's happening now? What, especially among the conservatives, and I'm speaking from an American standpoint, from what I can see that's happening there, because there's a lot happening there, right? If you watch politics and you follow it closely, what the conservative groups are doing, like with Piers Morgan, is that okay, they fired you from Good Morning Britain or whatever the case may be. Is that they start their own things. And then there's a group of conservatives that come together. Like, for instance, with the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro was also fired from his previous job. And then they started the Daily Wire. They came together. There was a bunch of rich conservatives. It's like, but we agree with what you are saying. We are funding you, and this is what we are doing. I think I see Piers Morgan is now on Fox News.
Yeah.
So they employed him. So the thing is, if you're going to be fired, so
But
be it.
that's
There's
what I'm
going
saying.
to be...
Take the shot, bruh.
But
Yeah.
there's gonna be someone that agrees with you that says, "Come in here."
Exactly.
Bruh, can I tell you this?
And it might be better.
90% of the world's population agree with you.
Yes.
Majority of parents at home
Yes.
are saying to their children, hey,
Yeah.
wacht saam met die goeters.
Exactly.
Wacht eerst saam met die. Majority.
Yes.
But because they have positions of power, they have positions where they can be heard, they have positions where they have influence.
Yes.
It seems
Yeah.
as if the world agrees. The world doesn't agree with the woke
Exactly.
agenda. Majority of people don't agree.
Exactly.
Especially conservatives. They're like, no, man, this is not right. If you speak to any person, if you say, I'm going to take away the pressure of wokeness and ask you what you really think, be honest, they're going to say, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Exactly.
If you ask anyone, is it right that a man can join a woman's sport and beat a woman? 10 women that have been jumping and practicing for 10 years and blah, blah, they finally get to this big award ceremony, whatever, they can't win.
Majority
They're
won't
gonna
agree
say,
with
nah,
that.
that's not right.
Definitely. But anyway, guys, that concludes our show for the day. Do not be fast asleep for the woke agenda, and don't bise up. Don't back down. Come full force ahead. PA's Gayton McKenzie is the mayor, the district mayor of the Karoo. He wasn't Biza. He take a note out of the books of legends, and don't Biza. Move forward and do what you need to do, guys. Thank you so much for watching, everybody who got involved in our comment section. We want to give a shout out to Expressive Music. We still don't know your name, but we'll call you by your username. Expressive Music, Keegan Aganaya, what's his name? Juan Horn, and Eloise Scoble. Thank you so much. We see you. We love you. Everybody at home, please keep safe. Have a blessed Easter weekend. Pew, 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 pew. It's the most important event on our Christian calendar, and we give thanks unto God for the sacrifice that He gave in the form of His Son. We will have Xavier preaching on Sunday morning. So Friday morning. If you do not have a church to go to, please do come through to Crystal Church SA. You can catch Crystal Church SA on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube, or you can just watch the live. But do come into church. It's gonna be awesome.
Better.
It's gonna be lekker. We've got Xavier preaching Friday morning and Pastor Lester Constance the Unk on Sunday morning. We cannot wait. Everybody keep safe, drive safe, have a blessed weekend. Bye.
Bye.